class today, so you can say hi, Mom, if you want.
Hi, Mom.
Not that Mom will watch it, but you just never know.
I call my mom Mama too.
All right, quiet, please. All right, so today's lesson, adding add-ins with different signs, meaning you got one positive number, one negative number. How do you add one positive and one negative? Now, please understand, I am trying to train your brain. That's what I'm after. I'm trying to train your brain. So you have to follow what I'm doing to train your brain. You may already be able to do positive and negative numbers. I need you to do them almost 100% correct, 100% of the time. So as I told you yesterday, almost everything we do involves positive and negative numbers, and we've got to be near perfect in them. So I need to train your brain so that, in my estimation, you can be near perfect. Okay? So it's a technique I want to teach you, and so you need to follow along with the technique. All right, so how do you add one positive and one negative number? All right, so it's pretty simple. Think of a -3 as 3 negatives. So just take your pen, take your red, and draw 3 negatives, 3 slashes, right? I have 3 negative signs. -3 is 3 negatives. +5, take your green and make 5 plus signs. So we got 3 negatives, we got 5 positives. Now we've already talked about absolute value or opposite numbers. So I'm going to take my black, you can use blue if you want, and I'm going to circle 3 of the negatives and 3 of the positives. Isn't -3 and +3 opposite numbers? What do you get when you add opposite numbers?
0.
0. So I'm going to cross them out, right? There's 0. That's 0. -3 and +3 is 0. Okay, what's left?
2.
2 positives, and that's our answer. Whatever's left is the answer, and it's 2. This is what actually is going on with positive and negative numbers. That's the meaning of it. Instead of take the absolute value of the one with the most, subtract from it the absolute value of the one with the least, give the sign of the one with the most. Okay, that works, but why? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm just following some formula. Well, that's not good. We don't want to have to take all of that thought into consideration. We want to know what's going on. Those 3 negatives wiped out 3 of those positives. And how much is left? 2 positives. That's why the answer is +2. Now I'm going to show it to you on the number line. So last night we did this. We started at 0, right? And we went to the left 3, yes? For the -3. Then take your green. Now start at the -3 and go 5 to the right. All right, so we started at -3, we went 5 right, and where did we end up at?
2.
2. All right, so watch now. I'm going to take my blue. Everybody look at the screen. So look at the number line first. This part right here goes with what part on the left example? This is exactly the same as that. These 3 negatives wiped out 3 of those positives. Right? And what was left? 2 positives, +2. That's what's going on. And if you'll train your brain to think this way, you're going to find that positive and negative numbers are very easy. Very easy. Very easy. Very easy. Daniel, are you working on the worksheet from yesterday right now? Good. You working on today's notes? Working on another class stuff? Good. All right. Just need to make sure, because you're busy over there, and just want to make sure you're with me. All right, because you can't work on other stuff even for this class. Let's just focus. But good. All right. Very, very good. So that's the idea. All right. So again, remember, opposite numbers, the sum is what? 0. So that's 0, and that's 0, right? And this is 0 up there. And that's the key to everything. Because opposite numbers, their sum is 0, we know what wipes out what. All right, so I don't know why I did A again, because A is the exact same example. So let's skip A. Let's go to B. So that's all we're doing right now. We're writing how many negatives we have, how many positives we have. We're wiping out the opposites, and whatever's left is the answer. So look at B. So I'm going to take my red, and I'm going to do 4 negative signs, right? And by the way, I don't care how you draw the 4. You can put all 4 in a line. You can go 2 and 2. I really don't care. That doesn't matter, okay? But you have 4 negatives, right? Because don't we have 4 negatives? And then I'm going to take my green. I'm going to do 2 positives, because don't we have 2 positives? And I'm going to take my black or my blue, I don't care what color we use, and I'm going to circle 2 of the negatives and 2 of the positives, right? And I'm going to wipe them out, because they are what kind of numbers? Opposite numbers. 2 positives wiped out 2 of the 4 negatives. And what do we have left? 2 negatives, right? So what's the answer?
-2.
-2, right? Because that's what we have left, 2 negatives. That's exactly what's going on in the adding of positive and negative numbers. Michael, question?
Yeah. For this is like the last sections to be. Will we ever have problems like those where they're both equal out 0?
It's possible. I mean, I might give you a question where I give you opposite numbers and ask you the value. You would say 0.
Will we have to still work with these?
You can just put 0 there. We're just doing, and Michael, just so you know where we're heading, we're only doing some work right now to train our brain. We are heading toward Thursday knowing how to do all this in our head like that quick. That's where we're heading. To that quick, add positives and negatives in our head. That quick. Okay? But we got to train our brain first, so we're going to do a little bit of work on this stuff, and then we'll be able to, in our head, get the answer that quick to positive and negatives. All right, so that's the idea. So go ahead and do C. Some of you are going ahead. Don't go ahead, all right? Just hang in there. Go ahead and do C and finish it off. I'm going to work while you're working. Hopefully you don't need to look up. If you need to, fine. Will yours look exactly like mine? Nah, you may have drawn them a little differently. But did you come up with 3, right? Because again, what happened? 3 negatives wiped out 3 of the 6 positives, and what do you have left? 3 positives. Go ahead and do D. The answer, class, to D is,
-1.
right? And hopefully you got -1. Because those 5 positives wiped out 5 of the 6 negatives, and there was just 1 negative left. Does that make sense? And this is what's going on with the numbers. This is what's taking place. That's why a -6 and a +5 is a -1. 5 positives wiped out 5 of the 6 negatives. There's 1 negative left. Somebody tell me how to do E. I want you in words to tell me what to do E. Who would like to do that? Michael, go ahead.
For you take it. You take your and you take only 5 negative times.
Okay, so I'm going to make 5 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, what else?
Then you're going to take your green and then make 7 positive signs.
All right, I have 7 positives. I'll make 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Then you're going to take the black or blue, circle,
Okay, so you're always going to take all of the one with the least and the same amount of the one with the most, right? There's 5 is less than 7. Don't worry about the value, positives and negatives. 5 is less than 7. I took too many, didn't I? Take all, thank you. That's not drinking the Kool-Aid. I'll talk about that. You always take all of the one with the least, the same amount of the one with the most. And how do I finish it, Mike?
Then you do 2, 3, 3, and then put 3, or 2 and extra.
Right, and so then the answer is 2. And again, we don't usually put a plus sign with an answer when it's positive, right? We just usually say 2. We don't put positive 2. All right, now look, that's the idea. That's how these are. Now look, we should already be getting to the point where we look at F and say the answer is,
-3. 3.
but we got to get to the point where that's 100% correct. And again, so we're going to take a day and we're going to draw plus signs and minus signs, right? Not a big deal. So go ahead and do F. Go ahead and do F. All right, don't turn the page when you get there. I want to talk to you for a moment. So would you agree that that's 3? Okay. All right. So some of our answers ended up positive, and some of our answers ended up negative. Is there a way to know which way the answer will end up ahead of time before you ever do the negatives and the positives? Is there a way to know how the answer will end up, whether positive or negative, before you ever start the process? All right, 5 of you think you have an answer. Alex, what do you think?
Yes.
Can you elaborate why? Are you willing to, can you say why? How do you know?
Like for example, 5 and 6, 5 and -6,
So D, example D. Okay, so with example D, how do you know that the answer is going to be negative?
because even though a -6 on the number line isn't greater, there's more of it, so which means it'll go to its side.
Okay, so the sign of the sum will always be the sign of what? The one with the most. Do you agree? Look at C. Weren't there more positives than negatives? What was the answer? Positive. D, there were more negatives than positives. Our answer was negative. E, there were more positives than negatives. Our answer was positive. F, more positives than negatives. Our answer is positive. See how that works? Every time. Every time. Whenever you're adding a positive and a negative, the sum will always be the sign of the one with the most. Key concept. Michael.
Can you also just get rid of all the signs and just see which is
Oh, don't get rid of all the signs.
greater? No, just to get
No, you can, but you're not training your brain. Are you going to get them 100% right 100% of the time? Probably not. Okay, so that's the question I just asked you. Go ahead and take a moment and fill that in. And then we're going to do a couple of the problems on this page. So in adding one positive and one negative number, what can you conclude about whether the answer will be positive or negative? Just in your own words, how do you know whether the answer is positive or negative? How do you know whether it's positive or negative? So again, it's just your own words. I want you to write it so that you'll help to remember it. All right, if you need to write more later, you can fill it in later. Let's go back to D for a moment. I'll take my black here. It says this: more practice adding positive and negative numbers. Be careful to recognize when adding two negative numbers. Those of you that had the correct worksheet, wasn't the back of the worksheet last night all adding two negative numbers? Okay. So be careful, because that's what's going to happen in real life. You're going to have them mixed together. Is it all going to be adding one positive and one negative? No. Sometimes it's adding two negatives. Now, we could add two negatives. Let me go back and use an example. Here's the worksheet. If I wanted to, I could pick one without big numbers. If I wanted to, I could do number 5 like this. Instead of doing it like we did it last night, 4 negatives plus 5 negatives equals 9 negatives, negative 9. If I wanted to, I could go 4 negatives, right? And 5 more negatives, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which still gives me what? 9 negatives. Just be careful whether you're adding a positive and a negative, or whether you're adding two negatives, because they're different, and you have to be aware that they can be different. Okay, so I want you to do just A and B and then stop. Only do A and B and then stop. Don't go past that. Again, you're showing how to add, just like we did previously. I want you to do A and B and stop. If you're adding one positive and one negative, do it like we did on the first page today. If you're adding two negatives, you can do it like we did last night, or you can do it the way we're doing it today, either way. And when you're done, look up so I know you're done with both. All right, we got to get rolling here. Our time's fleeting away. So class, what's the answer to A?
2.
Should be positive 2, right? There are more positives than negatives. This thing better end up being positive 2. 4 of those, wipe out 4 of those, and I've got 2 left. Class, what's the answer to B?
-6.
Be careful. So again, you can go back to 4 negatives plus 2 negatives equals 6 negatives for a -6. Or if you wanted to do 4 negative signs and then 2 more negative signs for a -6, that's fine as well. How many got -6 for B? Okay, be careful. You got to recognize when you're adding one positive and one negative, or when you're adding two negatives. You see the difference? Right? You got to be aware of that. You got to be looking for those differences, because they're different, and you got to treat them differently, right? So be careful. All right, so go ahead and do C and D. Go ahead and do C and D. Again, I'm just trying to train your brain. Hang in there. We're going to get to the shortcut Thursday, and it's going to be really quick. So did you get 6 for C? Did you get -6 for D? Right? Hey, the sign of C was the sign of the one with the most. The sign of D was the sign of the one with the most. Makes sense? Okay. For time's sake, let's skip E and F, but let's write the answer real quick. Who can tell me the answer to E? Answer to E. Brett?
-9.
That would end up being a -9. That's correct. Who can give me the answer to F? Answer to F. Mason?
3.
F does end up being +3, and that would be correct. All right. Let's, for time's sake, do G in our heads as well. Who can give me the answer to G? Madison? It's going to be a +5. And again, we're just not doing the work for time's sake. on your worksheet tonight. Make sure you show the work for those. Go ahead and finish H, though. Do the work and finish H. You've got 3 things added together, so you can figure that out. Go ahead and do the work and finish H. Let me make sure I got the right worksheet today. All right, you guys already have a 1B, right? You need a 1B. You need a 1B. Aaron, do you already have a 1B? Is that you? And Madison, you already have a 1B, right? Oh, sorry. All right, keep working on that last one. Make sure you get it right. Make sure it says 1B, everybody, all right? Make sure it says 1B. Thank you. Okay. So here's what I would have done with H. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Do you agree? I'm going to do all 3 at once. And I'm just going to start, hey, these 3 positives have to wipe out 3 of the negatives, right?
Yes.
What do we got left? 1, 2, 3, 4 negatives. How many got -4? All right, because you're a brainiac. Because math is easy if we understand what's going on. And hopefully train your brain to understand what's happening with the positive and negative numbers, and you'll make life easier.